Hello Fakamas, today we're going to be looking at a classic fragrance from the house of Givenchy. It's called Monsieur de Givenchy, and I'm going to be touching on some of the vintage formulas because when I was doing my research before buying this one, oak moss seemed to be a major player in some of the vintage versions, so I didn't want to get the frosted bottle in case the oak moss was removed there. Plus, this one can be had online for less than $50. So that's why I decided to go for the vintage version, and I think it's well worth it. And for presentation, they have different bottle shapes here. I'm not an expert at dating these, but they have this style bottle here, but also the tall one. And later on, they came with a higher concentration called haute concentration. And then the newest formulation presentation looks like this one. Now, for people who are curious about the different concentration, the haute concentration and then the eau de toilette here, they are really similar in terms of scent profile. The only difference is in the spacing, but also the brightness. So the eau de toilette seems to be airier, fresher, lighter in nature, and then the scent progression seems to be spaced out. Meanwhile, the haute concentration comes all at once, is a lot denser, and it doesn't project as much as what I get out of the EDT, but in general, they're really similar in scent profile. It's just the spacing in terms of progression there, and then the brightness that I get in the opening that is different. Now on to smell here. This one was released in 1959, I believe, and it was classed as a citrus aromatic. And then to some people though, it might feel dated or mature, especially when you contrast it against the more modern citrus aromatic type of fragrances in the designer realm, which tend to be cleaner, crisp, and then to some extent a little bit sterile there. When you contrast it against Monsieur de Givenchy here, the arrangement of citrus aromatic that I get here is really natural smelling to me, and it doesn't smell dated because of the base that they're using here, which is made of sandalwood, musk, warm tone, skin-like facet that is reminiscent of something that is civet-like. So that base coupled with the natural feeling that I get out of top doesn't feel like something that is too dated to me. To my nose, what I get out of this one, at the top I get something that is fresh, uplifting, lemony, but also get a dry lavender, and then that is coupled as well with something that is herbal and reminds me a little bit of basil. The basil note here is adding something that is slightly sweet herbaceous, but a faint anise-like accord attached to it. So you get something that is fresh lemony, a dry lavender attached to it, but also a sweet herbal anise-like facet attached to it because of the basil note here. Along with that though, in the base and underneath that, I get a beautiful sandalwood, creamy sandalwood accord there. I'm not sure if it's a note, actually a natural sandalwood, but the accord or the smell that I get out of this one is just fantastic sandalwood here, creamy. And on top of that, you get something that is slightly reminiscent of a warm skin tone, and then it hints at something that smells like civet. And I was really happy going with the vintage because I noticed that the oak moss note was there from beginning till the end, and it adds a beautiful complexity to that citrus aromatic top note, and the dry down, it pairs really well with the sandalwood, musky, slightly civet-like tone that I get in the dry down. Another character worth mentioning in this scent profile here is throughout the wear in the fragrance, I get a light soapiness attached to it, but it's not overbearing. So for people who do not like soapy fragrances, if you read online that there's soapiness attached to this one, is in a light way, so it's not overbearing at all. And then here and there during the mid though, I get a slightly floral tone attached to it. It's not going to be overly floral. It's more on the spicy floral spectrum of things, and it reminded me a little bit of a carnation, a little bit of cinnamon touch to it, but like I said, it's not going to be an overly floral scent here. Carnation tends to be associated with old style type of fragrances, and then some people are scared of it. So here though, it's not going to be a prominent carnation note. It's going to add a little bit of floral spiciness to the fragrance, but the major key role here or key element is going to be around the citrus aromatics, the oak moss, but also the sandalwood and a slightly warm skin tone that I get from the civet, and then that's about it. Now, as a point of reference, so you have a close idea of what vintage Monsieur de Givenchy smells like, if you own or you've tried any of the ones that I'm going to be mentioning here, so Eau Sauvage by Dior here, the cologne version, or the vintage eau de toilette version, or eau de toilette for Monsieur de Chanel, or you've even owned or tried Fiero by the House of Xerjoff here, it will give you a pretty good idea of the citrus aromatic style that you get out of vintage Monsieur de Givenchy. The only difference that I see when I compare it to these ones is because of the slightly warm skin tone civet facet that I get, but also the beautiful creamy sandalwood that I get in the base. In terms of recommendation, this one is a little tough here. It depends on what you already have in your collection. If you have any of the fragrances that are noted here in the citrus aromatic genre, I would say it might be a little bit redundant and overlapping with a lot of fragrances that were released in that era there. Besides the creamy sandalwood and then that warm skin tonality that I get that is reminding me of civet, I would say they're pretty similar, but if you're looking for that citrus aromatic but a beautiful dry down, definitely give Monsieur de Givenchy, the vintage version, a try. In terms of performance, this one is average. It's not a fragrance that shouts too much. From the first hour you get a decent projection, but after that it's really close to the skin and it doesn't last that long. I get between 4 and 6 hours depending on where I spray. On the lower end towards the 4-5 hour mark if it's on the skin, and then 6+ hours when I spray it on my clothes. But like I said, it's not a loud fragrance, so it's not going to be a beast projection. In terms of situation where you can wear this one pretty much in any situation, is something that is gentleman-like, something that can be a signature scent, light. You can wear that during almost any season. Maybe during the colder season it might not be that perceptible. That's why I have the haute concentration here. It has a little bit more oomph that I can enjoy it during the colder season, and then the EDT I wear that mostly during the hot season there. Just beautiful light airy feel to it. So I would say you can wear it in any situation and any season. For people who have been fortunate enough to try both the newer formulation and the frosted bottle, but also the vintage formulas, please let us know in the comment section below what you think of the differences and what your preference is out of these formulations. I think a lot of people are going to find value in that. Now, there was another release that was called Monsieur the number 2 and Givenchy that was discontinued and later released under Greenery. So I'm curious to know if they're actually a progression of the original Monsieur de Givenchy, or they're totally different scents there. So please let me know in the comment section below. Again, thank you for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and take care. Bye.